How the heck are you guys? I am Fastidious. Welcome to the channel. In this video, I've got a guide for you on the brand new mage arriving in Watcher of Realms, VELISSE. We are going to do a full kit breakdown, and I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about this character. She is a very strong AoE DPS, she is a summoner, and she has a very special synergy with the new cultist lord coming to the game, Ezareth. Those two are a crazy dynamic duo.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
So let's kick things off with base stats. Keep in mind, this is an A5 VELISSE, so her base attack is actually 300 points less. The HP, the defense, the magic resistance, it's all very standard for a legendary mage, and her attack for an AoE mage isn't on the high side at all, but it's not that low. You can see minus 300 without her awakenings. It comes in at 4,222. It's fairly par for the course. If we look over here at an A0 Virna, you'll see she comes in at 4341, so VELISSE is just over 100 points less on attack. However, she can stack a ton of attack upon herself through her kit. All in all, she is exceptionally strong. To see the remaining base stats, let's head over here and let's scroll down to attack interval. She has a very standard attack interval for an AoE mage of 3.5 seconds. We do see some AoE mages like Comet come in at 2.6 seconds. We also see Virna, who has a 2.6 second interval, but that's because attack speed does not affect her, so she cannot get any faster. Typically, 3.5 seconds is pretty standard. You can see over here on Beatrix. So all in all, the base stats are kind of what they are. They're fine, they're not special. However, the rest of her kit is very special. So let's kick things off now with her talent. And her talent is simple as anything. It's so easy to understand, and it is so freaking strong. So she's got her signature summons, which are the Serpentine Spirits. And her and the Serpentine Spirits can deal damage. Anytime they inflict damage in any way, she will inflict magic res reduction, and it is a big one, as well as a slow. So she keeps incredible AoE uptime on magic res reduction and on slow. She is now the holder of the best magic res reduction in the game, coming in at a reduction of 25%. Yes, we do have units like Lyra and Ajax who can put this out at 30%. They can reduce the magic resistance by 30%. However, in Lyra's case, it's single target, and in Ajax's case, it's not everyone, it's just those nearby to him. Ajax is very strong, but because she's got a really big range, and then she's got her summons, who can ostensibly expand her range, it is so powerful, and the uptime is absolutely ridiculous. Also, the slows are completely constant. They're always happening. It is the weakest slow in the game, only minus 25% movement speed. However, the key reason you're excited about this is you're keeping uptime on a crowd control effect, so it's enabling all of the cultist lord skills to boost all of the cultists like her that are deployed. So all the damage she deals and all the damage these Serpentine Spirits deal will inflict magic res reduction at 25%, and then the slow decreasing movement speed by 25%. Before we go into the rest of the kit, let's discuss the Serpentine Spirit summons right now. So these are snake-like summons that she brings about, and they will attack along with her. They attack enemies within 2 tiles or anywhere in the master's attack range. So she has that standard AoE mage range of 3x4, not the weaker version, the single target one where you don't get those corners. It's the same thing as someone like Virna, and it's not funky like what we get with Beatrix, though it's not bad with Beatrix. It's just a standard 3x4. So any target in that range or within 2 tiles of wherever her Serpentine Spirits are will be attacked. And each one of these serpents can attack 15 times initially, and each attack will deal 60% AoE damage to the target and up to 5 surrounding targets. So in total, it's a 6 target hitter. It's a very good multi-target AoE move. The damage on this also revs up a ton, as you'll see with her passives. When the attacks are exhausted, the Serpentine Spirits will stop attacking and they will enter like an inactivity period. And after 15 seconds, they will naturally perish. However, this is where her synergy with Ezareth comes in, her main synergy. If Ezareth is deployed on the field, the Serpentine Spirits instead will move to his position when they become inactive. So when those 15 attacks have been exhausted. Now, why is it significant that they move over to Ezareth? Well, if you want to learn more about Ezareth, definitely go watch my Ezareth video I'm putting out at the same time as this. But TLDR, he has two modes, a devourer mode and a destroyer mode. Destroyer mode is what you want. That's when he's dealing crazy damage. However, to deal that crazy damage, he needs stacks of something called dark spores. The main way to gain dark spores is by devouring stuff, either enemies, or he can gain them even faster by devouring allied summons. So when these Serpentine Spirits go to die and they're just inactive anyway, they're instead going to run over to him. You can switch Ezareth to Devourer mode. He quickly eats one of those every 2 seconds. That's how his kit works. And he's going to be back to full stacks in literally no time. It takes like 6 seconds. And then he goes back to Destroyer mode and he does the things you're going to learn that he is capable of doing. So alone, VELISSE can deal so much damage. By the way, she can have up to 5 Serpentine Spirits existing at one time. Her DPS is extremely strong. However, she also has these amazing support functionalities. She has the fantastic debuffing that her and her Serpentine Spirits do through the talent, and if you've got Ezareth, she juices him up, she revs him up in an absolutely crazy way. So this is a really cool mechanic in her kit. Let's go to the basic attack now. Pretty simple. By the way, all the skills we discuss here will be at full skill ups. This basic attack is going to deal 120% AoE damage to up to 5 enemy targets. And once again, she's got that good 3x4 range. If we go to her ultimate now, it is a manual ult and it is quite low cost. It is a burst ult where she essentially summons her Serpentine Spirits. That period of summoning lasts 2.5 seconds. She has 500 initial cost and it only costs 700. So she is a very, very quick ult. With this ult, like I said, she's going to summon 3 Serpentine Spirits into her attack range. These Serpentine Spirits will last permanently, and they will support other attacking summoned units on the field after they stop attacking for 4 seconds. Now, what is that support? It is not written here, or I'm just totally getting whooshed. Remember, this is the test server, so occasionally things are missing. The key thing you need to know, though, is they deal a ton of damage, they put out the magic resistance reduction, and they can power up Ezareth once they go inactive. It's a really key part of her kit. Let's go to the first passive now, Death Blow. Targets hit by the Serpentine Spirit will subsequently take increasing damage. Remember, I told you they can hit harder and harder. After the first hit, every subsequent hit will increase the damage by 6%. This stacks 5 times up to 30%. So you got your first hit, and after that, the next 5 hits, you can stack up to 30% more damage. Remember, at base, each one of these is going to have 15 attacks. I say at base because once we go over her awakenings, you will see you can get a couple more attacks out of them in certain situations. If we go to the A3 now, when a Serpentine Spirit naturally perishes, so those 15 seconds expire, they were not consumed in any way, she is going to have her attack increased by 2%, and this goes up to 30%. The stacking up to 30% never changes, but you can stack a lot faster if the Serpentine Spirit doesn't naturally perish. So the main way this is going to happen, obviously, is when they're consumed by Ezareth. So this is a nice synergy from Ezareth back to VELISSE. So she's going to get her attack increase stacks going by 4% instead of 2% when he eats up those spirits, so she gets it stacked up a lot faster. And she's going to reach that max of 30% increased attack. That's why we don't really care that her base attack is only like 4,222. That is the kit. I think you get the picture. By the way, I didn't want to mention it at the beginning, but this chick is a babe. One of the best designs in the entire game. This is insane. Let's wrap things up now with the awakenings. Let's start with the A1. So Serpentine Spirit attacks have a 10% chance of inflicting stun. What kind of stun? It's a solid one. It's going to come in at 1 second. We do have half a second stun, so it's not the worst in the game. However, a 10% chance is not the highest thing in the world. This is not something you can count on, but it's definitely something that can be really useful. It can definitely be pesky. I think her and Ezareth could have a lot of good synergy in GVG, and this could be a really annoying thing for people to deal with when they're taking on your defense. The A2 we briefly mentioned before. This is where she got that additional plus 300 attack, so this rose her base attack from 4,222 to 4,522. The A3, though, is where things get really good. So I mentioned the Serpentine Spirits could gain extra attacks. This is how. At A3, the number goes at base from 15 to 17, so it has already improved, and then they can gain an additional 2 attacks every time they kill an enemy. This can only be triggered one time every 20 seconds, so you probably won't get more than 2 extra attacks, maybe 4, but very often you're gonna kill an enemy, so it's probably gonna be up from that new base of 17, it's gonna be more like 19, perhaps occasionally, depending on the content, 21. All in all though, this isn't the craziest thing in the world, but it is a very strong awakening. The A4 is a classic plus 8% penetration, so she's ignoring an additional 8% of magic resistance, that's the magic defense. And then A5, when Serpentine Spirits naturally perish, she will restore 10% HP to herself, and she's gonna get granted a 10% damage increase for 10 seconds. These guys are always perishing at different times, so it keeps a pretty good uptime on the damage increase. To be fair, 10% is not the strongest thing in the world, and it doesn't stack. You can just extend how long it's lasting for, but it is good. It definitely is good. All in all, she's very strong. She joins the ranks of the strongest AoE mages in the game, outside of like Ingrid in her AoE mode. In certain content, she's going to be just as good or better than Virna, Honora, and Beatrix. It still will need to be seen exactly how she stacks up to them, but from my initial testing, at least in Xerbis, she is right there with him, and that's not to mention her incredible debuffing and her ridiculous synergy with Ezareth. The last thing I want to touch on before we end this video is how to build her. For the artifact, she does not have an exclusive, so obviously the best in slot is going to be the Tear of Twilight. This is a no-brainer. I've got a crazy test server Tear of Twilight on her right now, but having her attack as high as possible is always going to be the move. For other options, if you want the budget, you can absolutely go for the White Tower Trinket. This is like the baby version of Tear of Twilight. And then if you just want to spam her summons, especially if you're a younger account and you don't have perfect artifacts, Nightmare Samsara is going to be really good. She's got that low ult cost. You can have 5 Serpents up a lot of the time in a lot of content if you use something like this. That being said, she doesn't really need extra rage, so I would go the attack route, either Tear of Twilight, or if you don't have it, go for the White Tower Trinket. There are other options, but all in all, this is what I would lean to. The final shout is going to be for the Tome of Horror. Again, I don't think she needs the extra attack speed and rage regen for a lot of content, but because she's putting slow on everything she's attacking will be a slowed target. But just stick with the Tear of Twilight. That's what you want to do. For the gear sets, if you can, definitely do Wicked Vengeance on the left. If not, do Warlord. If you can't do that, do Calamity. It's pretty simple. And then for the right side, she can wear nearly any set. Any of the top DPS sets are going to work. A great one for new players is going to be a Wisdom set because she has a low cost ult, so you can spam it a lot and get a nice uptime on the increase from when she ults, that increase in damage. For the top tier sets, functionally everything works. The Serpentine Spirit damage counts as basic attacks. All her attacks count as basic attacks. It all works pretty nicely. Soulbound Arcana is going to work. She can spam ults very quickly. You can get those stacks up. Cataclysm obviously works very well. Even Hell's Lament works well because she's going to be ulting very frequently. You can get her in a lot of stuff. She's easy to build. She's easy to use. She's very, very good. There you have it, guys. I've been Fastidious. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any more questions, let me know in the comment section below. If there's any key content you want to see her highlighted in, also let me know in the comment section below. I did a huge video that is coming out right now or in a couple hours featuring her and Ezareth in Xerbis. It's quite the long video. It is quite the nerdy video, but I think you'll like it. And yeah, if you want to see her other places, just let me know. If you want to learn more about Ezareth at the same time this video is going live, if you're watching it then, my Ezareth video just went live as well. Thank you guys. Thank you to R-Type for editing this video. Share it with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.